Hey folks, welcome back. I know that I said that I was going to do a video on 3 berry bushes that grow in low-lying areas, and they're quite prevalent to Maine. And I said I was going to do that yesterday. Well, there's been a lot going on here, folks, and we're still waiting on the warden service to come in. So more on that at another time, maybe, but it's been busy. Around midnight last night was exceptionally busy and a little concerning. So I'm going to focus on the video. Now, I've tried to film this video twice. One day it was busy. The other day there was just so much traffic on the camp road that I just gave up. So from the day before that I have videotaped, and yesterday the little bit that I videotaped, I'm just going to piece those together as I talk. Now here in Maine, around low-lying areas, there's what they call the nanny berry. Now the nanny berry, to most of us, we call them wild raisins. Now they're not the regular dried grapes that are wild, because we do have wild grapes, we have wild plums and certain things like that that are native to Maine. The nanny berry is a whole different species, and they form clusters, drupes, I guess is what they're called. And they start out small and green, then they turn white, then they turn green, or maybe it's the other way around. Then they turn a whitish pink, and then a pinkish blue, like a service berry blue. When they are the service berry blue color, that's when you can eat the nanny berries. Or, that's where the wild raisin comes in. You can let them dry on the bush, and they'll look like a small shriveled up grape, aka raisins. And they're good either way. Now the nanny berry is quite edible. It is very sweet. It has one large seed. It's kind of like the shape of your eye, kind of almond shaped. And the seed is flat. So what you do is you pick all the blueberries, all the blue ripe nanny berries that are ready. You put them in your mouth, not all of them, folks, just a few at a time. And then you move them around your mouth, getting all that yumminess from the seed, and then you just spit the seeds up. So those are really good. You can make jams, jellies, pie. I can't even imagine how much it would take to make a pie. But what you do is you collect the ones that are ripe and you steam cook them, and then you run them through a food mill to discard the seed. And then you've got your pulp, I guess. Now you can, Cousin Shay and I did an experiment several years ago. We collected a lot of nanny berries that year along the edge of the bog. And I knew about nanny berries. She knew about nanny berries, but she knew that she tried a ripe one and really liked it and thought she might make something from it. So we gathered them. Instead of blueberry by blueberry, we just took the whole drupe and put them in a bucket or whatever we had. I don't remember. The ones that were pink, they did continue ripening to the blue stage, and they tasted just as good as if they were bush ripened. The ones that were green stayed green. The ones that were white didn't turn at all. So you can pick the wild raisins, the nanny berry, at their pink stage, and you set them in a warm place in your house, and they will ripen. So they're really good. They're one of my favorite snacks throughout the day. If I'm out and about, I'll walk to my nanny berry, one of my nanny berry bushes. There's hundreds here, and I'll just pick off the blue ones and eat them. So those are pretty prevalent in Maine. And that's the edible one. The two others that grow right beside the nanny berry, the same environment, the same soil, the same conditions, are two that are not edible. One is the arrowwood, which have pretty much the same color when they are ripe as the nanny berries are when they are ripe. And you could be picking nanny berries here, and in amongst that bush, you could have an arrowwood berry, cluster of berries. And if you don't know what you're doing, you could pick the arrowwood berries, and they would make you awfully, awfully sick, folks. Don't recommend doing that. They're pretty toxic to humans. Now, I had a person say, "What are you talking about? Those aren't poisonous." I said, "Well, you continue eating them. I am not going to." And they kind of chuckled, so I'm not sure if he was just being sarcastic or what. But always, no matter what I tell you, please do your own research, all right? So the arrowwood is so named because the shaft that comes out of the ground before it starts branching out is straight as an arrow. And the Native Americans used to use arrowwood, the shaft, because it is so straight. And they would use them for arrows for their bows for hunting. So that's why it's so called arrowwood. So those berries, they form a cluster different than the nanny berries. The nanny berries are edible. They're very good. The arrowwood berries are toxic. Now, the other bush that grows right with these two, and they could intertwine, so you could have a cluster of nanny berries here, a cluster of arrowwood here, and then off to the side or up above it or down below it or in between the two, you could have what they call winterberry. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you from in Maine know what winterberry is. They call it the winterberry holly plant. And they have those orange red berries that stay on throughout the winter. Now, we've got all three here. The winter berries, the berries themselves are toxic to humans. The birds in the winter may or may not nibble on them, but the berries will stay on the bush throughout the winter. But they're very pretty. They're very festive in an ornamental wreath or a bouquet of flowers, or just a wildlife bouquet. Just do not eat the berries, folks. Do not eat the winterberry berries, the arrowwood berries, which grow right beside the nanny berries, aka wild raisins, and they could grow just like this. They could grow. You see a blueberry and you have to trace it back. If you're not familiar with it, you have to trace it back to the branch that it came from and look at the leaves, okay? They have very distinct leaves. So I'm going to have to take a picture off the internet, and I will credit them in the article where I got the picture from below this video, so I don't violate any copyright. Because right now, the winter berries are small and very dark green because it's early for them to be turning, right? So, so there you have it. If you're interested in foraging, please do your own research on nanny berries. Do your own research on the arrowwood berries, and your own research on the winterberry berries. Okay, only one of those is edible, and that is the nanny berry. Okay, and they will grow just like this, right in amongst one another. So it's kind of pretty. But you've got to be very, very attentive in your observation if you go foraging for the nannyberry, not to pick the arrowwood berry. Okay, now the other bush is very distinct. That's either green, orange, or red, right? And they're shaped kind of oblong. The nannyberry is kind of oval, and the arrowwood berries are round. Okay, so there's that. The link is down below if any of you are interested. So you all be good. Bye bye.